Hi, I'm Ankur Dassani from Total Interior Solutions, and today I'm talking about a very important element of your bathrooms, vanities. The first important decision to make is whether you want a single bowl or a double bowl vanity. When I say bowl, it means whether you want a single sink or a double sink. Well, depending on the usage and depending on the space available, this decision needs to be made. So, if you want to put in two sinks, you would need at least a minimum of 60 inches of platform space. A single bowl vanity can be made even in a 2 feet space. The next decision would be that whether you want the basin to be a countertop basin or under counter basin. Now these both are functionally doing the same function, but जो under counter basin होता है उसमें आपको countertop space clear ज़्यादा मिलती है because it's under the counter, it finishes right below the stone and you get more clear space in the counter. जो above the counter basin रहता है, there is obviously placed above the counter. It eats up your counter space, and the joint where the basin sits on the counter is sometimes difficult to clean or maintain. So that's one drawback. In this decision, you also need to keep in mind that you may get slightly marginally more storage in countertop basins, and the under counter, obviously because it goes down, it eats up into your vanity space. So you get slightly less storage. One very important decision or a very critical decision people get stuck on is sometimes that whether you want to have a floating vanity or a vanity which touches all the way to the ground. Now, I'll tell you the pros and cons of both. A floating vanity makes the space look larger because it's floating, it's slightly smaller, it makes the space look bigger. A vanity which is all the way to the ground obviously adds some of its footwork, but it makes the space filled up, feel like it's filled up. One pro of floating vanity is that the space that is left below the vanity is accessible and easy to clean. And so this is for those cleaning fanatics, that the space can be cleaned easily with a wet wipe or you can wash it however. The one which is touching all the way to the ground, that place is obviously blocked. And obviously whenever you want to wet wipe the entire bathroom or a wet wash, it's easier when it is a floating vanity. The second advantage of a floating vanity is that it is easier to maintain if you have a drainage issue. If the drain gets blocked or similar problems, it is comparatively slightly easier to maintain or do the repair, which is different in case of a full height vanity, because in that case you may have to open up the vanity or damage the vanity to repair. The next important element is that you get slightly less storage when it is a floating vanity, obviously because it's a reduced height, so you may have to compromise a little on the storage. In the other case, obviously when it is a full height vanity, you get the maximum storage possible. One very important element which kind of gets missed out is the floating vanity has to be installed very well. Why I'll tell you, because sometimes if it is not anchored well to the wall, and if there is slight deviation or a bending in the counter, you may develop cracks on the edges. The sealer or the cracks start developing, which eventually leads to further maintenance problems. So you have to ensure that the person installing the floating vanity does a good job, so that in future you don't develop any cracks. Well, this problem comes less in a full height vanity because it is resting on the ground. It has legs, so it is more stable from that point of view. So here I spoke to you about the pros and cons of both the floating and the floor standing vanity, a full height vanity. Now the decision is yours. What are your preferences, whether it is storage, maintenance or aesthetics? You want to take the final call. If you like what you heard today and if you think it helped you in any way, do like this video and subscribe our channel. We keep sharing things which will help you plan your interiors better. If you need any help in planning for your vanities, call on the number below and our team will be happy to help you.